I'm going to go ahead and introduce Ida Rae. Ida Rae Egli taught English and was chair of the English department at Santa Rosa Junior College. Her first two books were No Rooms of Their Own, Women Writers of Early California, and Women of the Gold Rush. She spent 20 years researching, interviewing for, and writing Krisanti's War in Hitler's Greece, a novel. Ida Rae?
Thank you. And thank you to Redwood Writers and Judy and Jean, thank you for putting this together. A young Greek woman searches desperately for her missing toddler as German soldiers raid the village. The ancient outdoor amphitheater in sight, I nearly fall over Yanni staring out of the theater on his sprint home. I grab his arm. "Where is Kitty Key?" I shout. "There," he points toward the theater and then is off. I enter the theater and stare in blood-curdling horror as Kitty Key is just then being scooped up by a tall, thin German wearing enough ammunition to annihilate the village. I stop short, my breath a fishhook in my throat. No moisture, no air, only wind. I cannot speak. The German seems all nose at first, red face, lanky, his shoulders rounded with a child, my child. As my thoughts race, Kitty Key screams. She has spotted me and arms out now begins to cry pitifully. My body jerks when her arms reach, her moist eyes pleading, distress buckling her face. The soldier's eyes stare me to the spot. My heart shatters, veins bursting in a dissonant rhythm. I know in my fiber that if he harms her, I shall die here in this old theater where Oedipus Rex and Antigone were performed for my ancestors. I freeze, nothing works, not my head, not my legs. I just remain there petrified, my breathing fast, a trapped animal assessing avenues of escape. Instinct tells me not to rush toward Kitty Key and the Nazi. My mind flashes back to scrambling 5th century Athenian women searching desperately for their children while Persians burned Athens to the ground. At this minute, I am them. Our history is the same, a struggle between life and death. The soldier speaks to Kitty Key, not harshly, but in nearly hushed tones, even as Kitty Key pushes back from his chest, distancing herself from what she knows in her blood is danger. Or is it the look on her mother's face? I pain to call out, but know not what to say, what would help and not endanger her more. Kitty Key suddenly swaddles her face with her hands, bends her head down and weeps. She tilts her head into the shoulder of the Nazi, resting her weeping face there, the soft down of her crumpled curls caressing his chin and neck, the bird-like sounds of her cries so vividly those of a fragile little girl, afraid, compelled to fold to her captor. I watch the face of the soldier change, as though he is holding his own child, one he has back in the homeland, or one he wants someday when the war ends. I watch him soften, become more human, less fascist, just a man who could love a child. Rethinking, I know he's a fascist and has a job to do. I make a move toward them, but the soldier shouts, "Halt!" And I reach out to Kitty Key, at the same time knowing such a move could kill her. I play my hand and he plays his. Behind me, I hear foot soldiers, still stampeding the streets like runaway dogs. A woman screams just before I hit the sharp echo of a rifle shot, a thudding that is certainly a body toppling into rock. I maintain my spot in the swirling wind in this theater that plays out our drama. The soldier speaks again to Kitty Key softly, bringing her head up by the chin to look into his eyes. Kitty Key gazes bravely at him, searching. She looks over at me. I nod somehow, not knowing why. Then she begins to wipe grease from the soldier's cheek with her finger. She brings her thumb to her mouth and licks it before returning to the soldier's cheek, where she wipes at the dark streak until it is gone. It seems the only thing she can think to do, and I am both terrified for and proud of her. The soldier struggles to suppress emotion, his face fighting a curl of pleasure for Kitty alone, and then his eyes turn to bore through me, his neck a map of blue veins. There is anguish and more. Compassion? Confusion? I cannot tell. He examines my face, enemies face to face, who look more like humans than barbarians, galvanized into inaction by the grace of a child. A whistle blows below at the square. Doors slam. I hear village men in the street shouting back over their shoulders. "Don't worry, I'll be okay," one stammers, although his tenor is hardly convincing. Suddenly, the soldier puts Kitty down, not looking at me, turning his back to lope toward the street. He turns back only once as I sweep the running Kitty into my arms. His eyes meet mine, and I see him taking his rifle by the sling from the shoulder. My relaxing heart seizes, but then in the next second he is gone, his lanky torso lumbering out of the theater to the street, to disappear behind the row of houses. Thank you.